Welcome to the Real Film Nerds Podcast.
Hello, Nerderinos, and welcome to the Real Film Nerds Podcast, episode number 217, as we continue our foray into the Academy Award Best Picture nominees. We have another one Mike and I have not seen yet. It technically came out on Christmas Day, but that is Promising Young Woman. Mike, how are you?
Man, I'm wonderful. This was an intense movie, and I'm ready to talk about it.
Mike, are you a promising young man?
Yes, I am.
I don't like that you had to hesitate there, Mike.
Well, I just had to think about it.
You weren't sure if you were promising or not. Okay, good to know. Got it.
Yes, I was not sure.
Not sure. Like from Idiocracy. Is that your new name? Not sure?
Yes, it is. My new name is Not Sure and not Mysterious Mike Talent. Yes, Not Sure.
Mysterious, Not Sure, Mountain Dew, Alejandro Gonzalez. I don't remember. That name was so long.
Not Sure.
Hilarious. Loved that movie.
Yes.
We need to do that
movie
one of
is
these
awesome.
days too.
We do need to do Idiocracy. I love that movie.
Sad because it's come so true.
It's coming true more and more every day.
Okay, Mike, so I will get us back on topic since I got us off. Mr. Talent, why don't you go ahead and give us the breakdown for Promising Young Woman?
All right. So this is Promising Young Woman. It was directed by and written Emerald Fennell. And it's starring Carey Mulligan, Bo Burnham, Alison Brie, Clancy Brown, Adam Brody, and we can't forget, McLovin is in this. Christopher Mintz-Plasse? I don't know how to say this. And also, from American Pie, Jennifer Coolidge. So we've got to make some honorable mentions for that. And then this movie is a young woman traumatized by a tragic event in her life seeks out vengeance against those who crossed her path.
Okay, Mike, go ahead. This is your kind of movie. So I'm just going to kind of sit here and relax and watch the YouTubes while you talk, all right? Ready, set, go.
Okay, Matt, you're right. This is my kind of movie. I like revenge movies, but Matt, this one was really dark. And this one, I don't know, it felt more real and just intense. I don't know, sometimes those revenge movies I like to see are kind of whimsical fantasies of almost what you would imagine playing out in your head. But this one just seems so real and methodical. And I like the soundtrack. But at the end, I was actually kind of surprised at the end. The very end, I'll save that, Matt, for when we get into the spoiler zone. But I liked it, but it is very tense and it's dark. This movie is dark.
Personally, I'm shocked this is nominated for an Academy Award at all, because this is not something you would think the Academy would care about. We talked about it a little bit before hitting the record button, but this is definitely a response to the hashtag #MeToo movement, and it's almost kind of over the top how dark, sinister, and messed up it is. But it is an entertaining watch. I don't know if I'll ever watch it again, maybe just because I'm sure there's things I missed in it. But it's really sad, dark, twisted, messed up. But I mean, not every movie is going to be, perfect. And I think that's maybe one of the reasons why all of our Oscar nominees this year, at least for Best Picture, are so dramatically different from each other.
I'm honestly a little bit with you, Matt. I thought it was a little bit different selection for the Academy Award, but this has been a different kind of year, 2020. So it's good for them to kind of highlight some of these movies. And yeah, this is kind of a Me Too type movie, but man, it is a little bit dark. Well, more than a little bit. It's pretty intense. Kind of the whole movie is just pretty intense. There's a little bit of a levity in the second act, but then, man, once it gets going on the third act, whoo.
Well, it's interesting because the main protagonist has basically given up her entire life seeking out revenge against men that abuse women, basically. And I don't know what to think about it, that she has put the things that have traumatized her and her best friend in the past ahead of progressing with her own life. I don't know. I mean, I understand not being able to get over something, but to personally have a vendetta against strangers, maybe that was her form of therapy, I guess.
I don't know. I guess you're right, Matt. You do kind of see a transformation in our protagonist where you kind of see that she kind of gets out of this this therapy that she's been doing, I guess, for herself mostly, and you start to kind of think, okay, maybe she's starting to figure things out and she's going to be okay and move on with her life and maybe work towards doing something with her life instead of just sitting and eating breakfast with her parents, and as they constantly berate her about what happened to you, what are you doing here, like like kind of things.
Oh, they know very well what happened to her, but the second act makes you feel like she's almost getting redemption in some way because she's finding, someone she really likes. She's starting to go out on legitimate dates. She's starting to have fun with her life. She's enjoying going to work, as much of a shitty job as it is. And then something happens that kicks off the third act that makes her revert to the beginning of the film, if not 10 times worse.
Yeah, that was quite surprising for me. I did not see that third act coming in the way. I thought something was going to happen, but I didn't think it was going to be the way that it played out. And, woo, man. Revenge is a dish best served cold, I guess. Woo.
Well, I have a comment about that with this movie, but I'm not going to say it because it'll spoil it. So, there. I will leave it at that.
Okay, man. I did not expect that third act the way that it went, so I enjoyed the ride on that part of the movie, and was very intrigued about what was going to happen, and was just watching. And this was a great movie. It was well done, well acted. There's only a handful of characters in this movie, but it was all well acted. And man, it's just an intense story.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know what to think about it. I mean, I enjoyed it, but I don't know if I would call it a great movie. It was entertaining. It was unique. It's eye-opening on some levels, but it's extremely, extremely depressing and dark at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. It definitely, yes. Depressing and dark at the same time.
Well, I'm just having a hard time talking about it without spoiling it because that third act just flips. And I mean, I have some questions that you and I will get into once we get to the spoiler area. Some theories, some thoughts, some guesses on what happened, how this happened, things like that.
All right, Matt. So I guess with that, I can go ahead and ask you, Matt, what are you drinking?
Well, Mike, as you have alluded to earlier, we are, the start of baseball season. So I am sticking with my Four Peaks, and I'm drinking a good old Four Peaks Rattle-On Red Ale, the beer that they serve at the Diamondback Stadium.
Awesome, Matt. Awesome. I am drinking a Goose Island, what is it called? Lost Palate. It is a hazy IPA with mango and natural cinnamon flavor. It's a little bit funky.
Is it good funky or is it bad funky?
It's sometimes it's good, sometimes it's weird.
Okay. All right, then. So is that based on how many sips you have in a row or how long you wait between sips?
I think it's how long you wait between sips, man. I feel like sometimes it's more cinnamon and like that's a little weird flavor coming out of it, but then other times it's less.
It's like a horchata IPA?
I don't think it's quite horchata, but yeah, it is interesting.
Well, all right, Mike. Let's go ahead. Let's see if you figured it out. Mike, how does Promising Young Woman relate to the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
All right, Matt. So this one wasn't too hard, which is great. It didn't have a huge cast, but Clancy Brown was in Thor Ragnarok, and he played the character of Surtur. I probably said that wrong, but Surtur.
Suitor?
I don't, dude. Sure.
I don't know. Yeah, sure. Done.
So many movies. Everything comes back to MCU.
Yes, it does, Mike. Yes, it does. Have you been keeping up with the Falcon and the Winter Soldier now that you're caught up?
We are still caught up. I think there's one episode left. We're kind of in an interesting period so far. I've liked it.
Oh, no, there's more episodes left. They're only on episode 5.
How many episodes? 8?
There's
up to 8?
It's either 8 or 10. Or they might do
I
weird,
wasn't,
like WandaVision was like 9.
I wasn't sure how many episodes they were going to go for, but yeah, we're caught up, man. It's good.
Okay, good. I'm glad you're enjoying it, Mike.
Yeah, it's real good.
So speaking about HBO Max, next week's movie, I believe it's my pick next week, isn't it, Mike?
I think so, Matt. I think it is your pick next week.
I have a movie that I think is going to be freaking awesome. That's coming out in the theaters and HBO Max. But we can talk about that later.
Okay, all right. Let's save that until later. What are we going to dive into right now, man?
Oh no, you like to spoil things, so Mike, go ahead, start spoiling this movie. Like, I know your favorite person in the whole film was Bo Burnham.
Why was it Bo Burnham? I didn't even know he was a stand-up comedian, Matt. You're the one who told me about that.
I don't know. I was just trying to get you to talk about something.
Okay, so Bo Burnham is a stand-up comedian as well, and I had no idea. I really thought Carey Mulligan nailed this character. Man, it's an intense role to play, where you just kind of keep like pretending to be this drunk woman at a bar and just getting picked up by all these dudes. It's kind of sad that it keeps happening. Like
repeatedly.
Yeah, she's like, every time I went to a place, I never left alone.
And what's interesting is that she wasn't the only one doing it, as you find out later. There's some others that are doing it, and they're doing a lot worse than she is.
Yeah, at first I thought she, off the people, but as we got into it, it seemed like she did not. So I don't know exactly what she did, because it cuts away kind of before it's over. And so it kind of keeps you guessing on what happened.
I assume she mostly shamed them, embarrassed them publicly, privately, I don't know, something. But, I mean, how far do you think she would let him get before she said, hey? I know she had certain things that if they hit it, then she would say it. But, like, there's one where the dude's, like, straight up just going to town on her. And then she's like, okay.
Yeah. But one of the characters, when Burnham's character walks by and says, hey, what are you doing over here? Is one of the other character's friends that ended up taking her home, and he's like, oh, I heard about you. I'm like, you forgot what she looked like? Well, I guess. I don't know. But he was going to pick her up the same thing that her friend, his buddy did, I
don't know, man. It's just, you really have to be kind of broke to be doing stuff like that. But I understand it's kind of her therapy, and it's how she's dealing with the horrible things that happened to her friend. I don't know. I don't know if that's a good way to go about it. Shaming him, I guess that's one way to get, I don't know, solace, I guess, and education to the person. But do you think they really stop after her?
I don't know. I don't know if it was a behavioral change on the men that she was preying on, pretty much, in a weird way. Or the men that were preying on her. I don't know. It's kind of a weird juxtaposition. But I don't know. I feel like it was helping her deal with it. But, man, when the one character came to her, one of the other characters, Madison, who's played by Alison Brie, and gave her the video, like, it was like such a crazy moment where when she saw that her current boyfriend was in the video, I was like, oh boy. I had no idea what was going to happen.
They never really explained what he was doing in there, but the fact that he was there and he didn't stop it is what broke her connection with him. Definitely. Irreparable. Like, she's not going to be going back to him, And then,
oh yeah,
one thing that kind of bothered me a little bit was that she did what happened to her friend to Alison Brie in a way. Granted, did she deserve it? Maybe. But I don't know, man. I mean, she really, the revenge aspect was pretty vicious on some of these things.
Oh no, dude, it was like next level, man. Like, yeah, she did that to her friend, and like up until that part where she finally confronts her at her house, I didn't know what happened with the dude that she had there. She's like, "Yep, that's her over there." I had no idea what transpired, and nothing happened. But wow,
yeah,
that was intense.
My money was on him banging her. Like, she made the wrong choice and he banged her out. That's what I figured.
Yeah, no, that was interesting. And then what she did to the principal,
the dean, the college dean, yeah,
the dean. I was like, that was pretty intense too, man. Like that scene where like she's like, "Tell me where my daughter is," and she's just like, No.
She told her exactly where she was. She was in the room where her friend was basically, date raped. Yeah. Is what she told her. And she's like, "Oh, she looks old for her age," and she was probably in high school. I mean, I don't know, dude. That was pretty jacked up. I don't know if I'm not sure the victims deserved that were involved in it, but I don't know. Maybe they did to a level because they let it happen to her friend. They didn't do anything about it when it came to her friend. I don't know. It's pretty extreme, though. Pretty extreme retribution.
Very, very extreme. But I guess, like you said, man, I think this was her way of dealing with it. But, man, when she decided to deal with stuff, whoo.
Okay, Mike.
She went.
Let's dive into the third act. Should we dive into the third act?
Okay.
Massive spoilers.
Let's do it.
So,
Massive.
Do you think she planned it out that they were going to kill her? Do you think that she planned that out? Or do you think it was purely a mistake?
So what I think happened was she planned for two outcomes, and one of them happened, which was her getting killed. But I think she planned for two outcomes. I don't think she necessarily wanted to die, but she was okay with dying.
I think she might have wanted to die, because if you notice, the handcuff is what came loose, and she was the one that put him on there, but yet the other one never comes loose at all. So maybe she did a little something. I don't know.
I think she had two plans. Like, it was a timed release thing that if she didn't do something before when she came, out of there. Yeah, I don't know what her plan was. Like, he never admitted to doing it. Like the doctor guy, Al or whatever. even when she's like, yeah, about the video that your buddy Joe had or whatever, and he was like, he looked horrified when when she said video, but he never really admitted to doing anything. He said we were kids, and man, that set her off. She's like, I'm so tired of hearing that.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, but I still just feel that she planned to die because, especially after Bo Burnham being in the video and kind of crushing her spirits for life pretty much completely, I think she saw it as the end cap to all of her revenge, because that's murder. It's not rape. It's a whole nother level of prison.
Yeah. So do you think that this revenge was the coldest dish that she could serve?
It was the coldest dish that she could serve, I guess, other than murdering everyone.
Yeah, I don't know,
I
man.
think that'd be pretty good.
Yeah. When they killed her, I was surprised because that's not usually how movies kind of go. And then it goes on to the wedding, and we find out that she sent a letter to the lawyer, and like that was an interesting scene, Matt. Maybe we should talk about the lawyer when she visited the lawyer.
Go for it.
Yeah, she was so hell-bent on, doing her retribution. She had a person with her that I don't know what he was going to do. Like maybe he was a strong arm. I don't know what he was. He looked like he was a tough guy. But I mean, that's just completely conjecture. I have no idea what he was going to do to this person. But all he said to her was like, do I go in now? And she said, no. He's like, I still get paid, right? She said, yes. I have no idea what that was for or anything. But anyway, when she went in there, he basically was like, I have done a lot of bad things. I have helped so many people essentially get out of jail and do different things. And I was like, well, that's very strange for a lawyer, like he must have really had some stuff catch up to him. But he basically was like just waiting for people to come and tell him how he was a shit person. It was really weird, if you ask me.
I don't think it's so much was that he did a lot of bad things. I think it's that he helped a lot of bad people escape their punishment. And after however many years, because it had been several years since the issue with her friend, which led to her friend's suicide, I'm assuming that's what happened. They never blatantly say that her friend killed herself, but that's pretty much what happened.
Yeah, they never do say that, but I believe that is what happened.
Yeah, she's no longer living. She couldn't live her, she couldn't live her life really as she wanted after that, because day in and day out, all she saw was the dude raping her, basically. And so she offed herself, and that was after both of them dropped out of school and all that. And so the lawyer helped protect and get the rapist all the charges dropped and all that stuff. And I think it was just, I don't know how many years it was, but he clearly had been a defense lawyer for a very long time, because he was talking about defending a lot of other people. And yeah, he had an extremely, extremely guilty conscience, but he was super rich, and he admits that's the reason why he did it. And he realized later in life that was wrong, and he wants to pay his penance. And part of his penance is that he's not sleeping anymore, and you can tell that he's literally having a psychotic episode in the scene.
Yeah, it was pretty rough. But that was an interesting character. Like, that was also something I didn't see coming. So, like, I kind of liked some of this unpredictability of this story. It was not, I mean, I've seen, Matt, I love revenge movies, so I've seen lots and lots of them. I did not see a lot of this type things coming. So it was a lot of like, because she kind of forgave him in that moment. I guess she felt for him and understood that he was going through maybe some of the stuff that she's gone through, but differently.
Well, he begged her for his forgiveness as well. He begged her. And I think that she realized, that he definitely is sorry for what he did. Granted, he had a small portion compared to everyone else, but he still helped defend the rapist.
Yeah. And then the next scene after that she goes over to her best friend's mom's house, and is just sitting outside, but like doesn't go inside. And then her mom sees her, and then she's like, "You've got to stop. Like you've got to live your life." And then that kind of takes us into the second act where she's not so crazy, right? Is it that? I'm not sure of the order of things.
It's something like that, yeah. And that was another big-time actress that made a cameo, and that was Molly Shannon from Saturday Night Live.
Oh, yeah, that was, yeah. It was intense, this movie. Speaking of big-time actresses, I think Margot Robbie was a producer of this movie.
Are you going to go Google it now on your phone?
Well, I was just... I remember seeing it in the credits, but yeah, I'm gonna go Google it right now on the phone, Matt. Come on.
I know your phone is a distraction to this podcast, Mike. You need to put it away. Your iPhone 37 or whatever number you're up to now.
Yeah, man, 37. It's mostly a hologram now, but sometimes it's not.
They just put it right in your brain, like that new show on HBO Max.
What's the new show where they put it on your brain, man? I don't think I've seen that.
I watched like 2 episodes of it. I forgot the name of it. It's Not for Love or I don't know, something like that. And it's spoofing Google about putting a chip in your lover's brain, and then you know and you feel everything that they feel and they're thinking, and it's really just dark and jacked up. And it stars the actress from Palm Springs. I don't remember her name.
Oh, that's cool.
And it has Ray Romano in it too.
Well, I'll have to check that one out, man.
Yeah, I'm only a couple episodes in, but it's pretty good. It's interesting, especially if you're into tech stuff. Okay, Mike, how'd the Googling go? Speaking of tech.
It went well. And yes, Margot Robbie was a producer on this, so I was correct in seeing her name. So
that's how it relates to the DC expanded universe.
Oh, no. Should we just start relating everything to DC and Marvel? I don't know if we could do it, though. Yeah, I feel like that'd be tough.
No, DC doesn't have anywhere near the movies. And they're all discombobulated in their DCEU anyways. They don't make sense.
Well, they'll fix it eventually, Matt.
Sure. Maybe James Gunn's Suicide Squad with the exact same name of the original Suicide Squad will fix it, right?
Oh, yeah. Because he did... the MCU movies that we love.
Which ones?
I'm trying to Volume 1 and Volume 2. I'm trying to think.
Guardians of the Galaxy, you hater.
Yeah. Guardians of the Galaxy. Come on. I'm a little bit tired, Matt. You're always making fun of me for being tired on the show. I'm a little bit tired.
Well, then maybe you shouldn't have drank 17 beers before getting on the podcast.
Matt, it was only 10. I can't drink 17 anymore. I have a child.
Oh, okay. You got to hold the child in one arm. You can only have one beer per, in one hand. You can't have 2 now. I get it. I understand. You do know they make those helmets? You can put one on each side?
Oh, yeah. They do have those helmets. And because there's no sporting events, really, there's probably a surplus of those everywhere, right?
Hey, there's baseball. How dare you? There's lots of baseball.
Yeah, but what's the capacity? 3 people?
I know, it's a quarter of what the stadium can hold, and they're really spread out. I don't know if you've watched a game, but they're really spread out.
Yeah, now you can throw your beer and not hit anybody. It's weird.
Pretty much, yeah. Pretty much. Okay, Mike, so speaking of throwing things, no, that didn't work at all. That was terrible. How many reels do you give this movie, Mike?
Matt, I think I'm going to give this one 4.5 reels. I like this.
Wow. 4.5. Jeez. You do love your revenge movies, though. And I still don't understand. Why do you love revenge movies so much, Mike? Who are you out to get revenge against?
You'll find out later, man.
Oh, thanks. See, I thought it was me, you bastard. Great. Now I'm going to have to put in some more cameras.
I don't know, man. This was... I liked it. I don't know.
I already sleep with 12 guns under my pillow.
Hopefully all loaded chambered, and no safety.
No, I can't find ammunition. I just have the guns. I'm going to use them, and I'm just going to throw them at people.
You're like, here, take that. Ah.
Yeah. And make sure and get the steel clips, too, because you can throw those, too. Those hurt a lot more than the plastic. The steel mags.
Nice.
Dude, seriously, you can't get ammo to save your life. It's ridiculous. Anyways, okay, Mike, so I did not like this movie clearly as much as you whatsoever. I only give it 3 reels out of 5. Now, don't choke on your beer because you always seem to drink right when I'm looking for a response. So go ahead, swallow. There we go.
All right, Matt. I will try not to choke on my beer while you're responding. Wow. Only 3, Matt. Okay. Well, that's okay. I know you're not as big into revenge movies. This was definitely a different type of movie, especially for the Academy Awards. So I appreciate kind of this variety. I haven't seen as many of the other movies that Matt has on the list, but I've liked all the movies that we've seen. So that's always good.
Well, okay, so out of all the Best Picture nominees, Mike, which one is your favorite? Is this your favorite? Because I know you haven't seen all of them, but we've seen a decent amount.
I don't know, Matt. I'm torn. If you ask me what I think will win or what I think is the best picture,
what is your personal favorite? What you think is going to win is going to be completely different.
So I think I like this one the best.
Okay. Granted, you haven't seen all of them, but you've seen most of them. Which one is going to win?
I think Nomadland is going to win.
Okay. I think The Father's going to win. That's my thoughts.
Okay.
I've not seen Minari yet. I would like to see Minari, but I've seen just about all of them. My favorite so far, I'm going to go with Sound of Metal. I really liked Sound of Metal. I just really thought that was a good movie.
It was a very good movie. I enjoyed that one as well.
So, all right, Mike. Well, speaking about incredible movies, we're going to have the exact opposite next week. I think it's going to be a fun movie. I don't think it's going to be anything earth-shattering, but I definitely think we're going to enjoy it, especially if they do it right. Mike, coming out on April 23rd is the re-release of Mortal Kombat.
Ah, okay.
Or
all right.
Reboot, not re-release.
Okay, so this is a classic video game that Matt and I played growing up. In fact, I remember it came out on Sega Genesis, and it had like the cartridge that was a little bit bigger because they got more graphics in it or something. Like, I don't remember what they had, but remember it was like there were some cartridges were longer than others.
Just like in life when it comes to men.
Yeah.
Some cartridges are longer, some are shorter.
Yes. Anyway, and then there was a controversy at the time because they had all this blood in the game, and they released it on one of the other platforms, and didn't they change the blood to green because it was like they were trying to get out of... This was before the rating systems for the games. In fact, I think this game might have caused the rating systems.
It was a part of the rating system, yes, but no, it wasn't green. They removed it completely for the Nintendo because Nintendo didn't want the blood at all.
Nintendo, yeah. I remember it was a different platform, and it was like not the same, and people were upset. Us children, I guess that... I mean, how old were we when that came out, man?
We're in... I don't remember the exact date, but we were between the ages of 10 and like 13, somewhere in there.
Yeah, anyway. It was a lot of fun, the game, and I remember we went and watched the movie that came out. When was that? Early 90s, mid 90s?
Oh yeah, it was so bad.
It was so bad.
So bad.
And it was totally not like the game at all. This one appears to be more like the game, but I'm just going to hold... My expectations are going to be low, so they can only go up.
Dude, the trailers look awesome. They even have fatalities in the trailers.
They do, Matt, but I feel like it could still be tomfoolery. I'm going to wait and make sure that it's okay.
Okay, we don't want no tomfoolery.
No.
None. But
no ballyhoo, no tomfoolery.
okay, so those of you who want to know a little bit more about the history of all this, they have almost an entire episode in a Netflix original series. I believe it's called The History of Video Games, the games we play, or something like that. It's really pretty good. It's about 5 or 6 episodes of an hour each. Mortal Kombat specifically, with a bunch of the other fighting games like Street Fighter and stuff, is one episode, and they go into the controversies around Mortal Kombat and everything really in depth.
Oh man, I gotta watch that, man. I was just doing that off of memory, man. I do remember the controversy though. It was a big deal at the time.
It's very good, and yes, Mortal Kombat is one of several games that inspired the rating system that we currently have on video games. Mike, do you remember one of the other ones? I had it. And they actually had a little bit of a rating on it, even though there wasn't a rating.
Leisure Suit Larry?
That was a part of it, yes, because that was
there
very adult themed. But
was it the it was like a very dark game, man. I'm trying to remember what it was called.
Well, there's a couple, but Splatterhouse was another one.
Splatterhouse. I think that was what it was.
Splatterhouse was one, and then the one that really, really was the one that put it over the edge was they did this DVD film kind of game for the Sega Genesis CD, like the Sega CD. Do you remember the Sega CD?
Barely, man. That one was like in between the Dreamcast, and not very many people got stuff.
Well, the Sega CD was an addition to the Sega Genesis, and you put it on there. But the thing is, it flopped really bad, and it was really expensive, and the video games weren't great. They were mostly like interactive movies. Well, I don't remember the name of the game, but basically that was the game that really sent it over the edge, because you play like hostages and aliens, and they're like real people. It's not like video games because they shot it like a movie. And that is the one that really set Congress off bad.
Okay. Yeah. It was like, we're recording this on 4/19, and tomorrow will be 4/20, and that's the anniversary of the Columbine shooting. And I remember they were blaming rock metal for the shooters. I was like, what?
I'm kind of glad they stopped that shit, because they've always done that. Anything violent, they always blamed violent video games, heavy metal, all the stuff that we like. They've always blamed it. And it's just like, no, it's called the lack of... Oh, anyways, I don't want to get political. I have my theories on it, on what the issues are. Everybody else has theirs. Basically, mine boil down to mental health. So...
Yeah, it was. I remember I was like, "What? There's no way that listening to Marilyn Manson or Korn or Metallica is going to cause you to go shoot up all these people." It was a lot different, but unfortunately, the pandemic has subsided enough that the shootings have started again, which is terrible.
Yeah, it's just... I don't know, dude. This country's just been on fire. Watch the Last Week Tonight. If you ever watch that show, John Oliver, I watch it fairly religiously, just because I have no daily show. I will never watch the Daily Show with Trevor Noah. I think he's terrible. But I watched the John Oliver's weekly show, and he's like, this week has been so bad, we're not even going to cover it because we know all of you have seen it. We're going to cover weird news. And they did, which was a nice change. So anyways, all right, Mike. Well, next week, the brand new Mortal Kombat, I don't want to say, I guess, reboot, not a re-release. I'll go with reboot or reimagining, or I don't know. It definitely looks more akin to the video game, that's for sure. You got all the characters. You got Goro, you got Sub-Zero, you got Scorpion, you got a reptile appearance. I just hope it's silly and zany, bloody, graphic, and fun. It doesn't need to light the world on fire, but if it's not fun, I'll be upset.
Like I said, man, I'm very reserved on this. I want it to be good. I don't know if it will be, so I'm just gonna wait and hope that it's good.
Well, all right, Mike. Very good. We will find out this coming weekend. So those of you who don't have HBO Max, they are releasing in the theaters at the same time. So go check it out in the theaters if you feel comfortable. If not, you can watch it on HBO Max for a month. That's how long they leave the new releases on there. And they are sticking to their word. They do pull them off. So for those of you who haven't seen one of our more recent films, Godzilla vs. Kong, you can still watch it until the end of the month.
All right, Matt. I guess with that, I think we'll wrap it up. Thanks for listening, everybody. And, go out there and stream a movie or catch a movie in the theater if you feel comfortable. And, hit us up on our email, Mike at Real Film Nerds or Matt at Real Film Nerds, and Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all the normal social things. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Thank you for listening to The Real Film Nerds. Now, don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Real Film Nerds. Now, go out and catch a movie.